There's every reason to look at our results this year and have our head held low, and yet I'm not. This is a long-term project, something I've said from the very beginning and I'll keep saying all the way through. It's not about what we do in 24 or even 25. It's about making sure that we have a good set of foundations to work from, not a sinking sand base, but something structural, that the 26, 27, 28 cars all become faster and faster. We're simply in a state that putting sticky plasters on this will result in a short-term gain, but long-term failings, and we can't do that anymore. That's why we are where we are today. That's hard. That's hard because you want to go to every race weekend and perform at your very best. You want to be scoring points and moving up the field. But judging and balancing long-term versus short-term, the long-term will always be the one that pays out. So what are we doing in that regard? First and foremost, we're investing in this infrastructure, the facility, the site, the people. We're making sure that we're bringing in expertise from other teams. Some great people are coming to join us over the next 6, 12 months. We're making sure we're investing in infrastructure and machines that will allow us to be more cost cap efficient in the production we're doing. We're making sure that our operations side, how we produce the car, is on point and class leading. We're making sure that our design office, how we design, it's the quickest form possible from start to finish at the highest quality possible. Those are sort of a very rough outline of the changes we're making. None of them are small, all of them are multi-year, and that's the real focus behind all of us. That doesn't make it better when we have a wheel nut problem like we had in Imola. But what it does do is give you the certainty and base of this isn't a short term, a flash in the pan, or nothing that we want to achieve this year. This is we want to be at the front and successful in the long term. Welcome to the Vowles Verdict, presented by Kraken. Logan and I have a very open, honest relationship where we talk about things straightforward. I've gone through that we need a performance step from him. He needs to be matching Alex in a qualifying condition. We need to be qualifying where Alex is at the same time. And if we take the weekend as a whole, there's some positives. Absolutely, the ones you picked up on. He was in the race, he was fighting, he could see P14, which was just a matter of seconds behind him. The converse to that is, in qualifying, he had speed, but wasn't able to put it together with all the laps being deleted. And we need all of it coming together at the same time. He knows more than anyone else the weight that is on his shoulders, the amount of performance that he has to find as a result of things. And we're here to support him, not hinder or hurt him. But it's still the journey that is his to undertake, and there's still more work to be done. Next year's car, and this will be a sort of scoop, if you like, will be a 47. It is a development, effectively, of this car, of course, as we put focus into next year, but it's not that we're just doing minor tweaks. We're actually doing some fairly substantial changes because it's all good learning for the future. But we're doing it in such a way as that learning can carry over into 2026, and perhaps some of those items you may even see making their way to the car this year as well. So we're trying to maximize the opportunity across both years, keeping an eye that 26 is the big year for us. At the point that Alex had that pit stop issue, he knew his race was over, and two items came out of it. One we'll deal with in a later question, but the first and foremost is he used it as an opportunity to make sure Logan had a good awareness of where he was finding performance, and that is teamwork I don't think you'll see up and down the paddock. It's how Alex is, and it's how both of them are together at the same time, and it was great to hear and listening to. It wasn't briefed by us, that was a decision made by Alex. In terms of where he could have finished, we went also with that aggressive first stop, and you saw it was really marginal to hold on to the tyres at the end of the race. Some did, some didn't in the case of Valtteri, but the best case would have been P12. I think more realistically, P13 is where we would have finished. Both of those, though, are outside of the points, and that's the key point to me. It doesn't cause me any great feeling when we're there. What I'm looking for is making sure that we're in a position to score points, and this weekend, we simply weren't quick enough. Short answer, yes. There was a weight saving. It's a step towards where we want to be, but as I mentioned, it's a multi-race journey in order to get back there, but it is a step towards where we need to be. And the great thing with weight on a Formula One car is it directly translates. If you add or remove 10 kilos, it actually has pretty much always correlated across my career. There's been rare points where it hasn't, but it is just performance that you're adding to the car. In terms of Logan, we want to make sure we have sufficient stock of everything to provide to both drivers. And as we move forward, in Monaco, there's more items. We're going to review how much attrition, if any, we have on Friday, which then dominates what we do across the remainder of the weekend. Our goal is clearly to have both cars in the best position possible, but the delta in weight between the two cars isn't as great as you may think, even though the upgrade was on Alex's car. On Alex's stop, it's as simple as this. We had what was called a cross thread on that front right corner. It's a cross thread that you'll see up and down the pit lane. Various teams have different technologies in order to mitigate against that. In our circumstance, that all happens in oblique eye. So around about 250 milliseconds is all you're gunning on for. And what you're feeding is, can you actually determine that the metal is binding with the axle, that the nut is effectively engaged and pulling the wheel on? In this circumstance, a cross thread feels very similar to a normal engagement to the mechanic. And the mechanic released the car to be effectively safe in that circumstance. As the car dropped, he could see it wasn't, but by that point, the car was already on the way out the pit lane. A cross thread is first and foremost what we have to rectify. The second is we have to create structures and systems, including technology again, that we don't have here in Williams, but we will have in the months to come, that enable us to do a better job of when we do have a cross thread catching it. So in answer to that question, one is effectively an unusual circumstance, very unusual circumstance. The second is we need to make sure we add technology, which will take place over the next few months here, to ensure we don't release the car in that condition. I don't want to be retiring the car full stop. We're there fundamentally to make sure that we're still racing until the last moments. In terms of that question, first and foremost, you're weighing up a probability of a safety car, or in this case with Alex, 2 safety cars. That's what it would have required for him to unlap himself twice. Now, on lap 1 of the race, actually in Imola, given the amount of yellows and reds we had across the weekend, that's quite a high probability. But with 20, 30 laps to go, the probability is obviously shrinking. So that's the first item you're considering. But the second is, you hopefully heard us talking to Alex about various tests that we were doing. He was in a unique position where we're in a race weekend with nothing to gain or lose, and a number of items that we wanted to really conclude on the car, primarily around the brake system. And that's what we actually used that time for. We used 10, 15 of those laps effectively to go through those test items without any concern about what it means, simply because we needed safety cars to get back in the game. Once those tests are concluded and it was very clear we're not going on, at that point, the car was retired.